Laura Bernanke-Stafford. I am the Director of the Porter County Child Support Department in Porter County, Indiana. I'm also a Deputy Prosecutor. Today we're going to talk a little bit about how technology has helped us become more efficient through the use of specifically DocuWare system to make our files paperless. We started out, we have over 5,000 active cases in this office, and we started out with completely papered files. This was an issue for us because they were very poorly organized. We often lost files. We spent a lot of time looking for things that were missing, looking for missing files. Sometimes these files were several inches thick, and had to be passed from person to person, from office to office. We also had to transport those files to our various courthouses, neither of which are in our current building. We either had to transport them through the snow or rain several blocks to the courthouse, or put them in someone's car and take them out to the courthouse, which is several miles away. We were looking for a system that would help us be more efficient and cut down on time. We chose the DocuWare system because our county already owned a DocuWare server, and we were trying to make sure that we could do this efficiently, quickly, and with the least costs to our office. I attended a conference several years ago in which the idea of a paperless system was introduced to me. At that time, I did some more research and found that, in fact, my county did already own a DocuWare server, which we could use, and this would make our transition that much cheaper and more efficient. Once I learned of the availability of the DocuWare system, I talked to Dennis Lamont from IRA, and he gave me the rundown of what options were available to us and how we went about creating a package that we could use. We talked about cost, and we talked about how we were going to set that up. One of the first things we needed to do at that time is get funding approval. Every governmental agency has a different process for that, but in the child support world, there are funds available that may not be available to other types of offices. You can not only tap into the prosecutor's 4D budget, but also the county's incentive fund, as well as the clerk's incentive fund, and possibly do a joint project with the clerk's office as well. Once we got past the cost and determined that we could in fact afford this program, we had to start planning for what we needed our system to be able to do for us. We had to determine how we wanted our file cabinet set up, how we wanted our individual files within that electronic file cabinet set up. With the assistance of Pete, he was able to create exactly what my office needed based on what I told him. We expanded it somewhat, as we're the only county office in Porter County that uses a workflow process. Pete helped a great deal with that workflow process in determining how he came to our office, sat with me for several days, determined what we did on a daily basis, and then implemented that into the system. Without his assistance, there is no way that I could have done that myself. The process was very overwhelming. However, I just needed to explain to him what I needed, and he figured out everything else. There were several obstacles that we came across when implementing the system. One of the obstacles was making sure that all the other computer systems and software that we currently use would be compatible with the system. We use the court system has to be compatible, as well as the state system. I indicated to IRA what I needed the system to be able to do, and they figured out how to make it work. We did have some bumps in the road, but everything at this point is completely works together with one another. We have been completely paperless since about November of 2012. The process did take us about 2 years to complete fully, but since that time we have everything worked out and we are fully functioning with no paper whatsoever in our office. One of the other obstacles is staff members being a little resistant to change. And the way that we dealt with that issue was to explain to them how this was going to help them be more efficient. Later on, we will talk to some of them who will tell you exactly how it affected their particular jobs and made their jobs easier. Once they were trained, which was also all provided by IRA, they came several days, I believe over the course of a week, and trained everyone, given special attention to those who were having issues concerning how the process was going to work. And once we figured that out, everybody was on board. Some of the benefits that we've received from switching over to a completely paperless system are more efficiency, more productivity, as well as less stress. Less time spent looking for missing files and missing papers, and more time spent getting actual work done. We also don't have to transport files any longer. They are there when we need them. They're there when someone calls in on the phone. They're there when we're in court. We can look up anything we need to at the click of a mouse, essentially. There's also a cost benefit that I believe to be important. The initial startup cost of the paperless project was a large chunk of money. However, we have since saved on things such as office supplies, folders, papers, toner, those kinds of things, as well as time. It also gives us more office space. We no longer have to store files. We no longer have to pay to store files necessarily. And in some instances we had to do that in the past due to space limitations. I'm now hoping to open up the area where we store files to be some more offices, so people can have a little more workspace and possibly gives us room for more employees in the future. Additionally, there is an environmental impact with the reduction of the use of paper and other things that we would have used in our office to maintain a paper system. I do have some advice for other departments that would be thinking about going to a paperless system. Take your time and determine what your office actually needs. No offices are the same. Reach out to other child support offices or other county offices that you know that use a paperless system. They can assist you in gathering information that will be helpful to you in creating your program. Even go for a visit and see how their daily workflow functions. You can also ask them how they overcame obstacles that they had and work that into your program as well. Also try simplifying your process first. For example, when we were in the beginning stages of this project, we decided to make the juvenile court a paperless court to see how that would work. It actually worked really well, and we found that there were things we were doing that weren't necessary to our operation. We could cut those out and made the process even more streamlined. At that point, we were ready to create our paperless system without the extras that didn't need to be there in the first place.